Patrick Cook here. Thanks for joining me in this discussion. I've got a very simple objective for this particular discussion. I want to show you how to get good results from the Mandelbulb 3D Fractal generator quickly. All right. Now look, the Mandelbulb 3D application is a fractal generator. It is not a Photoshop, it's not a Blender. Those are deterministic type of graphics application. Their job is to give you a platform in which you have tools and you can design graphics, okay? The Mandelbulb 3D Fractal generator is not it's not a graphics application. What it is, it's a fractal generator. That is, it will take a formula and it will render a graphical representation of what that formula will result in a graphic. I mean, take this for instance here on the screen. This is the default graphic that starts up. It is one formula. It's called integer power. Okay, one formula. It has two properties. Okay, and this is what the Mandelbulb 3D application will render based upon this formula with these two properties at those property values. That's why it's a fractal generator. It is nothing other than a tool that will render a graphical representation of a formula or a mix of formulas, okay? Your role is to set up the formula structure for the graphical outcome. Now, the Mandelbulb 3D application is very robust. You've got something like 424 pre-made formulas that you can call to bear. You can mix the formulas in one of three different what are called hybrid modes. One is alternate, two is interpolate, and the third one is decombinate. In addition to that, excuse me, in addition to that, you have 6 formula slots that can be assigned in the alternate mode. You've got 2 formula slots that can be combined in the interpolate mode, and you have 6 formula slots that can be combined in the decombinate mode. Okay, so you've got 3 hybrid modes, they're called, alternate, interpolate, and decombinate, and you've got up to 6 different formula slots that can be assigned. Now, you can imagine that if you've got 424 pre-built formulas, you can make custom formulas to your heart's content. But if you've got 424 formulas, 3 different hybrid modes, up to 6 different formula slots, and you get to decide the properties of the various formulas. Now, you can imagine that you can get unlimited graphical results from that particular combination, and there's much more. But these are the basic fundamental elements of the Mandelbulb 3D software. So, our mission in this discussion here is to talk about how you get graphical results quickly. And that's what I want to be able to show you, okay? Now, look, it's actually the underlying premise of the success with the Mandelbulb 3D fractal generator is to stay in discovery mode, okay? Again, not a Photoshop, not a Blender. This is something where you throw formulas at it, okay, and you punch the button and you see what happens. If you don't like what happens, you change the formula, or you change the formula assignment, or you change the hybrid mode, whatever. You tweak the knobs. You don't make the graphic. You tweak the knobs. Okay, now that's key. So staying in discovery mode. Don't try to make a particular graphic. Stay in discovery mode. Let the Mandelbulb3D software application do its job. And its job is to render out a visual representation of a formula. Okay. Now, a good way to get off to a great start with the Mandelbulb3D software is to start in alternate mode, okay, which is your simplest. Now, alternate mode will actually write a formula to the screen, and if you have a second formula, it'll write the second formula on top. If you have a third formula on top of those two, it's kind of a layering approach, okay? I'm going to just start with one. Now look, take alternate mode, okay, formula slot number 1, come over here and pick the amazing box. Good place to start. Now, don't do mouse buttons and keystrokes if you don't have to. Okay. Now I just assigned a formula, amazing box, to formula slot number 1 in the alternate hybrid mode. I'm going to open up the Navigator, and I'm going to pull it over here where we can see it. All right. I'm not even going to bother calculating. I'm going to bypass showing the representation of this graphic here in the main editor. I'm just going to go right for the Navigator. Now you see here we're inside the bulb. We're inside. So over here in our formula values, we get to adjust that. I'm going to take this scale here, and I'm just going to manipulate that until I get a decent graphic. Okay, there we go. Something like that. All right. So I've already got myself a decent and an interesting graphic with one formula in one formula slot in the alternate hybrid mode. Now I'm going to push that back to main. Now I can calculate it, and I'm going to get a higher resolution, a more detailed view of what I had in the Navigator. Okay, so I have just literally made my first Mandelbulb in a matter of under a minute. Here, I'll prove it to you. I'm going to reset. Now, I've got everything reset. Let me recalculate here. I'll just turn off. I'm going to turn off the Navigator. This is just as if I had opened up the Mandelbulb3D software. All right, so I reset. So here we go. So I'm going to alternate mode, formula slot number 1. I'm going to come here. I'm going to choose the amazing box. I go straight to the Navigator. I load it in. All right. I tweak the scale so that I can get the camera out of the Mandelbulb. All right, and I push it back to and display it here in the main editor. I'm done. Now, I've got an interesting graphic here, and I get to choose if I like it or if I don't like it. It's as simple as that. All right, now, let's not stop there because we're in discovery mode. All right, again, now I've pushed this a lot. Matter of fact, I talked about the being in discovery mode with the Mandelbulb3D application in my my tutorial series called The Art of Why Mandelbulb Art. Listen to that if you'd like. But you want to stay in discovery mode, okay? Forget about all the other stuff, okay? Forget about all that stuff. Forget about animation, forget about lighting, forget about all that stuff for now. What you want to do is you want to discover an interesting graphic that you can do something with. No graphic, doesn't matter if you know all about coloring. It doesn't matter if you can animate. It doesn't matter. You don't have an interesting graphic, there's no point. So, stay in discovery mode. Now look, let's do this. Let's push this a little bit further here. All right, I'm going to stay in alternate mode. I'm gonna stay with this amazing. Now let's reset. Okay. All right. Alternate mode, formula box, formula slot number 1. I'm going to put that back to amazing box. I'm going to go to formula slot number 2, and I'm also going to put an amazing box in formula slot number 2. So what I've done here is I've layered 2 of the amazing box formulas on top of one another because I'm in alternate mode. I'm not going to bother calculating. I'm going straight to the Navigator and I'm going to pull it in with the parameter. Now I know that with the amazing box, I tend to get my camera buried. So I expected this, but this is not a graphic that I'm going to stay with. All right, so formula number 1, slot number 1 right here. Here's formula slot number 2. Formula slot number 1, I got to get that scale down. There we go. Now I'm going to go to formula slot number 2, and I'm going to get that formula down. Okay, so good. So push that back to main, take a better look at it. I'm going back to main primarily to show you what a higher resolution image looks like. I don't normally keep pushing things back to main. I stay in the Navigator and I do my work in here because it's very quick draw because it's lower resolution, and also because I have access to the formulas and I can easily modify the formula parameters. Each one of these is called a parameter. Okay, so anyway, this is 2 Mandelbulb amazing boxes in alternate mode. All right, and I got a pretty decent graphic. Of course, I can move in on this if I wanted to. Push that over to main to show you. Okay, all right. So, but let's not stop there. We are in discovery mode. Just because I've got a good graphic here doesn't mean I can do anything with it. I don't know. What does that mean to me? I don't know. So let's do this. Let's go back to the main editor. Let's reset. Now, I'm not going to bother recalculating, all right, because I just don't want to do that mouse key stroke. If I was, I would find that I am reset, all right, although I'm reset to some weird state. So I don't even bother with calculating every time I do something, because I have a pretty good idea. That's not what I'm going to want anyway. All right, so I have reset. Now, let's throw 3 formulas at it, okay? Again, I'm going to stay with the amazing box because we get some interesting stuff. Now over here, I am going to put a transform in. Anytime you see an underline right here, that indicates it's a transform. A transform will have an impact on another formula. A transform is not a formula. It's kind of it's an element of a formula. It has very few properties, but it will have an impact on the formula behind it. So I'm just going to put in, I don't know, let's, RPOW3. I'm just guessing at this stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, I'm going to put, let's put the amazing box back in here again. Now, I'm not going to bother recalculating. I'm going to go right to the parameter. That's what I got. So now let's go to formula number 1. All right, this is an amazing box. It says it right here. Okay, let's play with that. Let's see what we get. Okay, now let's go to formula number 3. That's the second amazing box over in the formula slot number 3. I'm going to play with that a bit. Okay, interesting. Now I'm going to go to this transform. Okay, now I don't have any properties, but I do have iterations. All right, so here I'm modifying the iterations of that particular transform. Okay, I get some pretty interesting stuff there. Okay. All right, now I'll push that back to main so that you can see it. All right, so, okay, so far I've stayed in alternate mode so far. I have done a single amazing box, got pretty decent results. I did 2 amazing boxes, pretty decent results. I did 2 amazing boxes with a transform. Okay, let's reset. Now let's focus our attention on this interpolate mode. Now what interpolate does is it will take 2 formulas, and only 2 formulas. I have 2 formula slots. That's all I got. Okay, it will take 2 formulas. It will mix them, but it will only display on the screen the average of each of those formula where they intersect. All right. So let's just stay with Amazing Box here because it's simple and we get some pretty interesting results from Amazing Box. All right, 2 Amazing Boxes. Okay, formula slot number 1 and 2 in interpolate mode. Let's go straight to the Navigator. We know that we're going to be buried. Let's see if we can get out of that. I got to give it some. Okay. All right. Now what I'm doing right here is I'm giving it a weight. All right, a weight. That is, like I said before now, interpolate is where you have 2 formulas, only 2 formulas, and they're mixed, but only average is taken. All right. So by adjusting this weight, I'm saying that we're going to take formula number 2, Amazing Box, and give it a weight of 0.5. Let's go here, and this Amazing Box, that has a weight of 1. All right. So now I can start getting myself out of the jam that I was in. Here we go. Okay, let's try mix something with the fold here. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. All right, now I don't push it back to main. I keep working in Navigator, but I'll push it back to main so that we've got something consistent on the screen here. All right, so all I've done here is I have manipulated the weight, all right, and the properties of 2 formulas in an interpolate mode. All right, and I've got something very interesting. There is absolutely no reason why you can't have something very interesting on your screen with the Mandelbulb application within minutes of installing it. No reason whatsoever. Getting started with the Mandelbulb3D software is easy. It is easy. Where it gets hard is when you get deep down into the levels of its capabilities and when you start animating. That's when it gets hard. But getting an interesting graphic up and running quickly is not an issue. It's not an issue, and you shouldn't even be concerned about it. However, I will repeat, though, that the trick here is to stay in discovery mode. Don't try to make a graphic. You are not in control of the graphic making. You are only in control of assigning formulas and modifying their properties, and then punch the button and see what happens. Right? All right, so let's continue this. Let's go over to decombinate. I'm going to reset. I wiped all the formulas out and I put everything back to normal. I'm going to go over to decombinate. Now, let's see what happens here. So I'm going to assign a formula. Let's just take Amazing Box again. Why not? And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get one of these DIFS formulas here. I don't know. Let's see. How about Borg IFS? Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna push this over to the Navigator. All right. So I know my camera is buried in this Mandelbulb. It was very interesting. The Mandelbulb is actually there, but our camera is buried or the Mandelbulb has overwhelmed the camera. This is why we get this all orangey effect here. And actually what this is, what's really going on here is that the camera is blinded because the bulb or the graphic is so large that it's engulfed the camera, and the camera just can't see. The reason for the orange is that the camera is actually clipping the bulb, all right, and that is actually a color which is flat, okay? The color can't be rendered properly because the camera is clipping or is blinded. So our job is to get out of this without giving up, okay? So we're pretty sure that it's a scale problem, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can adjust this scale and the fold, and I'm going to see if I can get myself out of this trouble here, okay? And that's not working. I'm going to pull the parameter back in. I'm going to basically reset my properties here. I don't want to get too buried, all right? So I'm going to go to formula number 2. Here we go. So now we're starting to see some results. Okay. I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to go back to the amazing box and see if, here we go. Very good. Excellent. Okay. All right. So what I've done here is I've gotten myself out of the camera being buried and overwhelmed. Okay. Good. Okay. All right. So now this brings us to another, what would you call it? Rule of engagement. Like I was saying now, stay in discovery mode. When you are in discovery mode, when you're on a journey and you're looking for something really good, you're digging in a mine, all right? You're digging for gold. You come across a whole lot of rock that's not gold. You don't need that particular rock, so you keep moving on. So when you're in discovery mode with the Mandelbulb application, you are going to run into a lot of situations where the graphic is just of no value to you. You can't really do anything with it. All right. I can continue here to adjust things. All right. All right. But like I was saying before, you're not in deterministic mode here. You're not trying to make a particular graphic. You're trying to find an interesting graphic that you can do something with. This is not it. This is not it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way back to the main editor here, and I'm going to reset. I'm starting over. Threw this away, don't like it. So what I do now is I'm going to get back over to DE Combinate, because when I reset, everything was reverted. I'm going to put that amazing box in there. I'm going to go over to formula slot number 2. I'm going to try a different diff. Citrus IFS. Why not? Okay. Push this over to. I'm buried again. The amazing box tends to do that. Okay, let's get unburied now. Here we go. Well, let's keep going here. Keep going. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Now let's go back over to the Citrus IFS with an iteration of 1. Let's see if we can do something with this. Okay, it's right in here. This is the DIFS element of this whole scene. I'll slide over. We can take a better look at this. Let me back out a little bit. Okay, there we go. Now you see here how these two formulas are mixing. DE Combinate. All right, it's what this DE combinate is doing is it's performing a Boolean type of combination. All right, it's a Boolean logic. All right, and so it's a particular type of method of combining the two formulas so that we get a result, something like this on the screen. And you can see here that the citrus IFS is being combined, digitally combined with the amazing box. All right, I'm going to push this back over to main so that you can see it. All right, so look. So what I've done here is I have very quickly gone through the alternate with one formula, the alternate with two formulas, the alternate mode with two formulas with a transform. We've taken a look at the interpolate mode with two formulas, got a decent result from that. DE combinate with amazing box and a DIFS formula, got a decent result from that. I've only thrown away one formula attempt, just threw away one. Otherwise, all the other times I've gotten some decent results. Okay, but now look, let me be fair here. I've been showing you this amazing box. And I chose this one because you can get some very interesting results very quickly. All right. Let's try an experiment here. This is unplanned. I didn't plan this. I don't have this particular discussion scripted out. Let's reset. Now, let's see if we can get something more organic. All right. The amazing box tends to be very structured. It tends to be, it has a lot of squares and regular angles and curves. Very interesting, especially when you get up close into the amazing box graphic structure. You can get some really pretty interesting things. A lot of the pre-made formulas of the Mandelbulb application are more organic, okay? For instance, let's go over here and let's pick a BT pine, BT1 pine. All right, formula slot number 1 in alternate mode. Let's push it over here, see what we get. Okay, interesting. That is the BT1 pine formula, which has these parameters, scale, all right, and a few others here. Okay. All right. So one formula gave me something interesting, and I could do some interesting stuff with this. What could I do with it? I don't know, rotate it, get in close to it, zoom in, who knows, okay? But it's interesting. Alternate mode, hybrid mode, one formula, that's what I got. Now, let's go alternate mode. Let's put a second formula and combine it with this BT1 pine. I don't know. How about, I'm just guessing, how about a Macon 3D-1? Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. Now I can come in here, BT1, I can change the iteration count. All right, I can go to formula number 2. No properties, but I can change the iteration count, see what I get. Interesting. Go back to formula slot number 1, BT pine. Interesting. Change the scale a bit. Let's see what I can do with that. Okay. I'll push that back over to main so we can see it. All right. So, so I went beyond the amazing box. Let's try reset. Let's try interpolate mode. Okay. I'm going to say, I don't know, I'm just Axion Axion C, okay, interpolated with, how about Rayman? I don't know. All right, let's parameter. Okay, interesting. Let's get up on it. All right, let's come over here. Let's change the iteration count of Axion. Not really doing much of anything. Change the float power. Okay, interesting. Okay, formula number 2. Here's the power of the Rayman. Okay, give it some weight. We're in interpolate mode. Okay. Maybe get up close on it. Oh, too far. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, push that over to main, calculate it so we can see it. All right, and just to be consistent here, all right, let's throw something into the decombinate mode. Reset, decombinate. Let's do bulb box. Let's go over to the diffs, formula slot number 2. Let's go over to the diffs. I don't know. How about Dini IFS? Let's see what happens. Okay, punch that. All right, so again, I'm buried now. That's fine. That's fine. Get unburied. Let's see what I get. Okay, that's this is bulb box now. Formula slot number 2. This is my Dini IFS. Let's change the scale. Come on, there we go. Too much. Okay. Radius. Let's back out here. Come on. Okay. Yeah, I don't really like what I'm getting. So look, I'm just going to pull the parameters back in and reset. That's one of the rules, is reset often. You don't like what you get, reset it. All right, you don't have to continue to try to make something work every time. There we go. Let's get out of that. Something like this. The fold, I don't know. It's okay. Now it's starting to be a little bit more interesting. Okay. Back to main, calculate. Okay. All right. Let's wrap this up. Now look. Basic rules. Rules of engagement with the Mandelbulb 3D Fractal generator. Rule number 1. You are not in charge of the graphic. The graphic is produced by the application based upon the formulas that you assign in one of 3 hybrid modes: alternate, interpolate, decombinate, with your various formula slots. Okay, those formulas, 424 of them are pre-made. You can make new ones if you're an advanced user. All right, your job is to combine the formulas, manipulate the properties of the formulas, punch the button, see what you get. If you don't like what you get, you tweak the formula properties, or you change the number of iterations, all right, and you punch the button again and see what you get. You are not in charge of the graphic. You are in charge of the formula mixing, the formula properties, okay? The key to success with the Mandelbulb 3D Fractal generator is to stay in discovery mode. Don't try to make a particular graphic, okay? Keep experimenting, reset often, all right? Ignore all the other stuff. Just go for a good graphic. You get a good graphic, you can do something. No good graphic, you can't do anything. Why bother animating if the graphic's no good, okay? All right, reduce your mouse movements. Don't keep resetting, recalculating, you know. All right, Do something here, do your work in the Navigator. Your Navigator is going to give you full access to all of the assigned formulas, the iteration count, and the properties of each. All right? And it will also give you the ability to reset. For instance, if I change this and I don't like it, all right, I can reset the last thing that I adjusted. Reset. All right? Reset often. Come up here, reset often. Reset often. That's one of the rules, okay? All right. While you're working with the Mandelbulb and you're manipulating the formulas and you're seeing what kind of graphics you get, you're in discovery mode, be thinking of what kind of story you can tell with the graphic that is produced. What's your story? What can I do with that? Can I make that a giant high detailed poster? Well, maybe. All right, maybe it's too much detail, maybe not enough for that. Can I make that into an animation? Well, maybe there's enough depth to be able to fly around in. I don't know. Think about the stories that you're going to be able to tell with the graphic. That will give you a good insight as to whether or not that graphic is worth continuing to work with, to either make it a high-resolution still image or to make it into an animation. If the graphic is not good enough, reset and do another one. So look, the primary keys to success, in summary, are this. Stay in discovery mode. Don't try to be deterministic about the graphic. You tweak the knobs of the formulas. Reset often. Eliminate mouse actions, okay? And always be thinking about what you can do with an image. If you can't really do anything with it, a big still or an animation, throw it away and move on, all right? Don't try to make every graphic that you come up with work. You have an infinite, well, maybe technically not infinite, but you have a very large number of possible graphics that will pop out of this thing. Just keep going. Stay in discovery mode. Reset often. Think about if you can use the graphic. If you can't, reset it, change the property, and move on. Mandelbulb 3D Fractal Generator does not need to be difficult to use. But you do need to go into this understanding that you don't make the graphic, the software does. You can't be deterministic about that graphic. The formulas will determine the graphic. Your job is to mix the formulas, modify their properties, punch the button, see what happens. If you like it, run with it. If you don't like it, reset and move on. I hope this helps bring the Mandelbulb 3D Fractal Generator back into what I believe the original authors intended. Those people are long gone in terms of supporting this application. When they made this application, they understood that it's a fractal generator, and that's its purpose, and it's very, very good at that. You be good at that by tweaking the knobs and understanding what this thing does and doesn't do, and stay within the confines of what it's intended to do. And that is to produce graphic representations of formulas based upon their mix, and their property assignments. Okay? I hope this has helped. Go get the application. Test my theories of the value of staying in discovery mode, the value of resetting often, and the value of thinking about what can I do with that graphic. And if you can't do anything with it, throw it away and move on. Get the application, try it, and tell me if I'm wrong. And I would love for you to submit some comments as to what your challenges are with the Mandelbulb, whether or not I'm just blowing a whole bunch of hot air here about what I believe that the Mandelbulb keys to success are. Okay? Feel free to comment. Let's talk about it. Okay. Hey, thanks for joining me. You take care.